So our topic for today is going to be about gang stalking. Again, topic for today is going to be about gang stalking. But before we get into it, I would like to remind you guys that February 10th, which is in a day, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I am hosting a workshop for $25 called Undoing Toxic Conditioning. And I believe that you guys are going to benefit greatly from it. So, and it's only $25. If you know somebody who would, this workshop would help. Again, the title of the workshop is, it's a 3-day program on a Zoom call, and it's called Undoing Toxic Conditioning. So that starts at, what is it, Friday? Tuesday. So today is Wednesday. So it'll be Thursday, the 10th. Pacific Standard Time at 3 p.m. So do the calculations if you guys want to join. Our topic for tonight is gang stalking. Let's talk about it. Hi, thank you guys so much for the likes. And the reason why, so if you want to join that, go to my profile. If you guys want any other services, go to my profile. Please get on the mailing list if you guys want to be notified about the other programs that I have. So again, I am a life coach and a NARC coach. I have certification. I have life experience, 2 narcissistic cluster B personality parents. I call them cluster Bs because when you have one diagnosis of out of the cocktail, you have all of them for a greater or lesser degree. So I could just say cluster B personalities. And I also say that because narcissism has been overused in the film industry. You know what I mean? They've glorified it to where people, you don't know that you need to get away from that trauma bond because you saw a movie that, you said, oh, okay, well, this is, I guess that's cool. I don't feel good about it, but I guess it's cool because it's in the movie and it's my favorite actor or actress, who's acting like a psychosociopath. And trying to kill people. So, and we even laugh at it. So it's been watered down and made so that way when people actually say, I'm in a relationship with a narcissist and this is what they're doing, nobody takes them seriously. But I also, that's why I say just cluster B personalities, because they have one, they got the whole cocktail, right? You can go check out my other videos describing, thank you for the likes. You can go check out my other, and I don't deal with Negro crap. You can go coon somewhere else. Goodbye. So another thing is, so I do coaching sessions, help you transition. For myself, I was homeless for 3 years and learned a lot. It was very cathartic. It helped me get deeper into my healing and spiritual journey, and would not trade it, would not go through it again, but would not trade it. So I can coach people on how to start over, even from narcissistic abuse. Like I said, I've had parents who were narcissistic, family members who are flying monkeys still to this day, basically grew up an orphan, a lot of physical, mental, spiritual abuse, just was on that self-healing journey, very isolated, have been celibate for, over 10 years. And, just loving me and whatnot. So that's, you guys want my services, you guys want to know a little bit more about me, please go to my YouTube channel, my Instagram, get on the mailing list and go to the link that's in my profile and you'll see everything that I offer. So again, the reason why I wanted to talk about gang stalking tonight is because I did a couple memes. I don't know what you call them. It says me. So I don't know. But, I did just made some posts about gang stalking. So it's just, I post whatever's on my heart. And I, just because somebody maybe could relate. When spirit gives me downloads, then I go ahead and do it. So, and post it. Respect, true seeker. Hi, Jacksonville. Thank you. Anyway, so from those posts, a lot of people, and I realized because that went viral, I guess you could say, it had over 8,000 views on one of my posts talking about the tactics of gang stalkers. and how they like to isolate their targets. Now, gang stalking for me, as I have said in many other videos, is a sorority for people with cluster B personalities and the flying monkeys. Okay. So basically, gang stalking is somebody gets offended by what you've said. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you've followed Britney Spears, if you followed Kesha, both of these are singers, don't care their race or gender, but you know, I care about their story because what they have been going through is conditioning. I mean, I have gang stalkers, and most of them, again, are cluster B personality or flying monkeys who, you know, adopt that cluster B personality, those toxic characteristics. And one of the things that I've really noticed is the sexual, you know, if you guys have read about MK Ultra and all that stuff, these things it is a conspiracy to overpower and control people who are light workers, earth angels with gifts and talents, and basically treat them like Goyim, you know, basically treat them like cattle, like sheep, like they don't belong, you know, or not like they don't belong, but like they're not worth anything. Because if you've been in a relationship with, you know, the cluster B personality, the narcissist, the psychopath, the sociopath, the histrionic, the borderline, the antisocial, even the bipolar, if you've been in relationships with these guys in any shape or form, whether it be, you know, a partnership, a marriage, or just a friendship or a coworker or a family member, you know that they don't care. They want to be you, but at the same time, they can't help but just try and destroy you. Because you're pissing them off at the same time that you're, you know, thrilling them. That's the thing with these guys. You're pissing them off at the same time that they're admiring you. Because they're empty inside. So one minute they're fascinated, the other minute they're like just in a rage. And the reason why I thought about this as I was starting up, and I was working on doing the finishing touches for the workshop coming up Thursday. And I thought about it. I said, oh, peace, love. How you doing, Anthony? I thought about it and I said to myself, wait a minute. You know, most of these people you have to understand. People's like, well, why? I don't understand. Do they feel sorry? Do they feel bad? No. The answer is always going to be no. Just accept it. Now, I know that a lot of people have cognitive dissonance because it's like, well, wait a minute, this person can't be like this. You can't mean to tell me that I was in love with a monster, a demon, a reptile. You know, when they give you that stare, nothing behind it, that's a reptilian stare. Also known as a psychopathic or a sociopathic stare. Sometimes they're collecting data. Sometimes they're just tapping out. Right? And I have to admit that as much as I've studied and researched and courses that I've taken, I'm still baffled because here's what baffles me is that other people don't realize it, you know? People don't realize that, hey, thank you so much for the likes. The topic is gang stalking. Yeah, it's bizarre. It's so bizarre. Like it's never going to be normalized for me, ever. You know, I have been harassed for the last 12 years. I had to calculate it yesterday. And I was been gang stalked for the last 12 years. But for the last 5, I just leveled up because I was like, okay, I've gone to the police. You know, it's weird when you go to the police and the police know what's going on, but they said it's illegal to stalk, but we can't prove it because it's multiple people. I actually had this come out of a police officer's mouth. Like I didn't even know what gang stalking was. I had to Google stalking community, you know, and, you know, the divine just, you know, gave me what I needed to answer for my question. So when people, and it's hard because the thing that we all know that narcissists are going to do is in cluster, you know, the whole cluster B cocktail they're going to do is try and make people think that we're crazy. So we shut up. For instance, I've had several gang stalkers use witchcraft to sexually assault me, right? So anytime you're thinking and you're lusting about somebody, you're directing that your lustful energy towards them, and you're imagining having sex with them. You're doing that against somebody's will. You know, if an entertainer or star doesn't want to have sex with you, doesn't know you, you're raping them by lusting for them and trying to have sex with them. You're raping them. So yes, you are a rapist if that's what you're doing, right? Like, even if you're doing it to pictures or whatever, like, you know what I mean? You're still imposing your will onto somebody else. But one thing that I noticed with these gang stalkers is that there's always a sexual, sex is always is always a big factor. So when the meme, but let me get back to it. When the meme, I don't even know how to say that, but what I posted was about the isolation. So I got some more information, and I think that knowledge is power. I think what I want to say to people who have been gang stalked, who are still being gang stalked and targeted individuals, because it's not that I'm not being gang stalked, it's just that they know their limits with me, and they get shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. The line that has been drawn is pushing them back a lot more. If I'm delusional, Dorcia, then you need to get on another video. Bye-bye. God, it's always the ugly ones that do this too. Yeah, and I mean, that was my breakaway was prayer and fasting and focusing. Right? So a lot of people lose their mind because it's meant to make you crazy. It is absolutely meant to make you crazy. So what you got to do is know the tactics, right? Do the research on their tactics. And then after you know basically, guys, knowledge is power, because you see where Miriam Dorcia here decided to just out of the blue tell me that I'm delusional. And people are going to say that. People are going to say that you're crazy. People are going to say that you're schizophrenic. But that's a tactic too. That's what they told me. I'd gone to the police. The police actually said that they knew what was going on, but that there's nothing that they can do with it. But they told me to keep videotaping, taking pictures, whatever it was that I needed to do. And that was something that they weren't expecting. They weren't expecting somebody to be proactive in their life. They weren't expecting somebody like myself to be a suicide bomber, you know, because I'm not going down without a fight. I don't have no idea what the hell's going on or what the hell I just got into. All I know is that I moved for my career and was ready to start a new life, a better life, and get some experience in my career and go from there. And these guys, and literally, it says in the Bible that they're in the latter days or the end days, people are going to be easily offended. And that's what started happening. But gang stalking had been happening since 9/11, you know, because the powers that be did not like that people were figuring out what actually happened. That's basically it. And so they were trying to, in an attempt to squelch dissidents, you know, where all these woke folks were like, okay, I'm putting two together and it doesn't equal 6, right? Because that's what we were handed during 9/11, right? And it's like, I'm not trying to get into conspiracies, but there's a paper trail, you know? We deal with this in our families. We deal with cluster B personalities and gang stalking and harassment and gaslighting and slandering on a micro level. But the bigger picture, the macro, is that we have people who are running the government that do the same thing to each other. And it trickles downhill, you know? Yeah. So I have the demon herself. I hear you. So anyway, yeah. So I just wanted to share some topics, not some topics, but some, let me see here. There we go. Some things with you guys, because gang stalking is, I mean, it's hard to go through. Like, it literally was driving me nuts because the tactic is like from high school. Like I know people, I mean, people used to stalk and harass, in high school. It's the most bizarre thing to see 60-year-old black, white, Asian, kids, young, old, suburban, urban, on EBT, getting 100,000 a year, right? I mean, they're coming from all these different demographics. There's a lady who mistakenly, because, of her racist inclinations, she actually thought that I was one of them because I was black. And unfortunately, in my area, there are a lot of black people who do gang stalking and pretend to be bodyguards for other, more prominent gangs. Like, I've talked about before, like the Norteños and the Serenos and, whatever, who own California. And play victim. You can't be oppressed and be the oppressor at the same fucking time. It just doesn't work, you guys. Doesn't work. So, all right. You guys, I'm not with the stupid questions tonight. Get on, please. Because I will continue to block you. So anyway, yeah, I'm just going to read some stuff. Read this out because I think that a lot of times with gang stalking, people don't understand what it entails. Right? But it's in the movies that we watch. If you guys have ever watched a movie titled The Game, and I believe, who did it have? Michael Douglas. Had Michael Douglas in it. Right? Vanilla Sky is not a gang stalking, but, it's kind of, I mean, The Game with Michael Douglas in it is more about street theater. Like, or crisis actors. Because I mean, they're all actors and they're all hired to do a thing. And that was to destroy this guy's life for his birthday, basically. So I'm not going to give a lot of it away. So anyway, here's an article that I got from Google. So it's called Gang Stalking and its Preternatural Connections. So evil takes many forms in the world. Its areas of influence go deeper into the workings of our lives and institutions than many are aware of. We began SIS, and I think that's the name of the group, with the goal of protecting people from the manifestations of this evil, and when asked, cleansing their environments from it. Though it may be hard for some to fathom, our world is influenced, manipulated, and managed by what some refer to as archons. Definition as ruler. So I guess archons means ruler. In Ephesians 6:12, we find other titles for them. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Here are some other titles in Romans 8:38. For I was persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come. These beings have one prime purpose, the ruination of mankind's soul. And when you think about that, the thing that gang stalkers do to their targets, okay? So let's say you've had an opinion that is not part of the politically acceptable. Right? As we've seen Dennis Quaid, he said that he was under being stalked and harassed. So they go by your profile, by however that you've been profiled, right? Thank you for the likes. They go by however you've been profiled. What you like, what you don't like. So take it from what you know about people with cluster B personalities. What do? They mirror what they think you want so they can get in. They're mirroring to create an opening in your spirit, in your subconsciousness, so that you will let them get in. People think it's just physical. It's not. It's spiritual as well. It's energetic as well, because they have to feed off of you. There was a movie about vampires who had to feed and were literally culling the human population to feed off of, to drain their blood, right? Now you could either join them and turn, or you could become food and die. And so, I mean, start looking at me. A lot of this stuff is in movies. And so when people start calling you, knowledge is very power. When people start calling you crazy and delusional, like some of these assholes on here, in your life, but they know exactly what's going on and they're just in denial of it, or they can't deal with their own cognitive dissonance. So they want to shut you up because they've been saying it too. But somebody told them that they were delusional, right? So it gets passed on. But a lot of this stuff, is that how they take you down is to get into your spirit first. Because what you do in the physical is allowed in the spiritual realm, right? So when your higher self and your angels and your guides and the Most High is like, okay, well, I don't really like this person. They're giving me the heebie-jeebies. That's your intuition. Your intuition is not only your higher self in your full glory, not in this body, but in the body that you were actually supposed to be in, right? In your higher self. There's times where what was so cool about me going through my dark nights of the soul on my healing journey was that I would feel my higher self come in and we would be one. And that's the most beautiful feeling because it was this power. It was this strength, and other people see it on you. So remember, they're not attracted to what you have materially. They're attracted to what you have spiritually because they want to be able to use it to make them wealthy in the material, right? But they're always going to drain you. They are the vampires. So when you're dealing with cluster B personalities, when you're dealing with gang stalkers, you're dealing with the cluster B personality sorority. And they're flying monkeys. It's like, here's my boyfriend is a part of this little thing and I'm over. So that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with people who literally want to rip your soul out because they hate your guts for whatever reason. So when you're being gang stalked, the thing that they want to do is to punish you from speaking any type of truth. It's your truth. Nobody has any rights to it. So what they want to do is get into your energy field so they can attack your mind, so they can attack your body, so they can attack your spirit. They want to attack your faith. I have a picture of one of my gang stalkers because they color with red, but that's actually the Nortaniels. So they do the Nazi colors. Thank you, universe. Love you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, hon. So they'll attack you. Yes, and it does. And Julie is my Romeo. Yeah, Juliet is my Romeo. They do attack your solar plexus. I am constantly having to clear my chakras. Good morning, Jamie. I am constantly having to clear my chakras, my root and my sacral especially, because the thing is, when you are centered and when you are grounded, they can't get to you. When you're focused, they can't get to you. When you are in yourself and when they attack something in you, and I've said this in many other videos, you guys, go to my YouTube channel too if you guys want to watch other live talks, because I've talked about this. And a lot of times repetition is key so that way you guys can get this, Phoenixes, right? So what was I just saying? Yes, I've had to clear your chakras. Then you can go on YouTube. I'm actually going to do a course on it. But I'm just waiting for people to level up. But going to go ahead and do a course on chakras and BG mantras and things of that nature, because that's actually what saved my life. Were Hindu mantras. Actually saved my life, because they do, when you realize that this is a spiritual battle and how deep the spiritual battle goes. Like with the narcissist, people keep saying, oh, the narcissist is very intelligent. The psychopath and the sociopath and, the whole cocktail, they're so intelligent. They're not. They're dumb as rocks. The reason why the intelligence comes from the demons inside of them. That's where the intelligence is coming from. Yes, I'm in a blocking mood. I don't deal with you guys. I know why you're here, and you're going to get blocked too. So yeah, repetition is key. But yeah, so when you realize this, you got to go into you. No problem. Thank you, universe. You got to go into you. This is what makes you, whatever you're afraid to look at inside of yourself, when you're going through gang stalking, it forces you to. Because if you don't, you'll die. And that's the whole point. They want you to do one or three things. Kill yourself, kill one of them. That's because they're ready for the sacrifice. They're ready for the sacrifice. Or go insane. When you do none of that, and they've been, you know what I mean? Like I've had my power back for I think the last about 5 or 6 years. You know, I've had my power back. For the first, it was just kind of going and doing my own thing. And I noticed that the more people I had around me, which is why they have to isolate you. So the more people that I had around me, the less that they would bother me because they didn't want witnesses. The whole thing is not to have any witnesses. But when I started taking pictures, that pissed them off. So again, as a collective, that was a collective what? Narcissistic wound. Cluster B wound. You damaged our ego because you got us on camera doing what you said. We've told people that you're delusional about us doing, but yet here we are in all of our toxic glory enacting, you know, what you said we were in the first place. That's why it is a good thing to have, you know, hidden recorders and cameras and things of this nature, because especially now, because they're becoming more violent. They're becoming more desperate because a lot of people are waking up. A lot of people are separating themselves from them, and they get scared because what, as a collective, they don't like, just as an individual with a cluster B cocktail, they don't like being abandoned, because how dare you tell them when something's over? You know, I have two women who still can't, I mean, like the people with cluster B personalities are very obsessive. So not only is it you're giving them a wound because you've abandoned them, or if you've told them something that they didn't like, or because it was the truth and it revealed something about them, right? So again, gang stalking is a sorority of cluster B personalities and their flying monkeys going after people who have spoken a truth that they didn't like, that threatened to reveal what they really did, i.e. 9/11 was an inside job. Whether you believe it or not, somebody said it and people started investigating it. You know, people don't go around just making shit up. I mean, some people do. The cluster B personalities do. You know, sometimes to get out. I mean, I know that, you know, wounded children, in order to get an adult to listen to them and take them out of an abusive relationship, will make shit up. But as something as big as that, as big as impact as that, when many people died. And then it came, the truth that was coming out, right? So they learned, okay, we can't, because the cluster Bs sometimes are not very intelligent, but everybody has intelligence. So you can connect. If you got the mind of a 2 to 7 year old, or maybe even a 2 to an 11-year-old, you're connecting the dots. So what they said was, we got to form this community cause stalking, community policing, right? We got to form that, because if we don't, because we can't, you know, we're going to do something with the police force. We're basically going to destroy it from the inside out and create all this chaos before we do. And then we're going to build something new and pretend. So problem, reaction, solution. If you guys have listened to David Icke, problem, reaction, solution. We are the problem, but we'll create the solution to the problem, which is us. But we're going to pawn it off on the black sheep and the scapegoat and the garbage cans, right? Who are the empaths, the earth angels, the healers that we actually need to siphon from. But we can't stand looking at them, but we'll make them the problem and we'll be the solution to a problem that was in us and that was, you know, we sent out, but we can't take responsibility for it, you know, publicly. Same shit. So yeah, they'll break you down, you know, and part of that is isolation. So let me continue to read here. So again, these beings have one primary purpose, the ruination of mankind's soul. I will cover the many means they employ to accomplish this in future articles. They feed off of human suffering. It very literally is food for them. These are very grim topics, but ones which must be addressed. And again, I just said, they're vampires. You know, they are vampires, energy vampires. They love it, right? As a clair, I'm all the clairs. So empath, introvert, clairaudient, clairsentient, clairvoyant. So I can see, I can hear, you know, I can feel the energies in me. So when people have to understand, the reason why you were fooled is because these guys compartmentalize. They have reptilian minds, right? So they're not thinking that thank you for the likes. They're not thinking that they care. They don't have empathy. They have regret, not remorse. Regret that I did this too soon. Regret that I said that, right? The one that was, that's the pedophile and the sex trafficker and the Norteños and the Santa Muerte cult member that likes to sacrifice homeless people once they're done beating them and using them. She said, this is why she spit in my face and said, this is why people don't like black people. Well, why she doesn't like black people is because black people called her out. And she's Puerto Rican and Italian. So she didn't like being called out, right? So me as a black person, and for some reason, this particular cluster B personality, identifying as lesbian, right, didn't want it to be more powerful than black people, right? So she couldn't even regurgitate the propaganda. And one thing you realize with people with cluster B personalities is that they will pick a cause. But it'll be a cause that they don't believe in. It'll be a cause that they can feed from, right? Like, let's say you got clowns who like to work with kids. Or, you got people want to volunteer to do after school programs, sports and shit. Why? Right? So these guys, it's so normal for them to be this disgusting because it's natural. It's unnatural for them to try and mimic having empathy, having remorse for what they do. It's to be truly in love, right? So many of us says, okay, why do I keep attracting these people? Because they're wounded. And if we're healers, right? Stop thinking of it as psychiatrists tell you, it's like, oh, it's because you haven't dealt with this or because, you're still attracted to them. No, that's not it. I mean, if you want to mind fuck yourself into thinking that's great. Go ahead and do it. I'm not that kind of life coach. I'm not that kind of NARC coach because I've been through too much. I've been near death too many times because of gang stalking and because of cluster B personalities. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit for you. I'm going to tell you now that it's a demon possession. So it's not you are tied to them. They were tied to you long before you knew that they were tied to you. And it's the principles and principalities, right? This is a spiritual battle. So if you realize that this is a spiritual battle that has trickled down into this plane, you understand that we are possessed with the light. They are possessed with the evil. That's it. So find out the structure, find out the war strategy. That's what you do. Hi, Drea Lopez. Welcome back. That's what you do. Thank you for the likes and loves, you guys. Appreciate you. So that's what I'm giving you here is just some of the strategies because we got to think outside of the box. This is why I'm doing that 3-day workshop for $25. If you guys want to get in, go on the link in my profile, go under the programs of Phoenix Rising Academy programs. And it's just teaching you how to undo conditioning because we've been conditioned not to speak our truth. In America, especially, right? We've been conditioned. People have been killed for telling secrets. What should never have been a secret. We should be able to talk about what it is that we need. And then people say, oh, I got imposter syndrome, or I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel like I can do it. It's not for the reasons that you're being told. Nobody's being honest with themselves. You're welcome, Drea. Nobody's being honest with themselves. Like I had to think, I was like, okay, what if I do, like, I want to go here. I'm going to start traveling, right? Because I want to just do, yes, conditioning and mind conditioning and control. Yeah. And that's so I want to give people, I want to do just a little, it's just $25 and it's affordable, 3 days where we're going over how to recognize toxic conditioning or belief systems and how to undo it. Right? Because this means your freedom. I resolved this, especially when I was homeless on the streets 4 years ago now. And the Most High was like, babe, they're already attacking you. You know, they're already trying to kill me. Like 6 months ago, I had somebody do something that was so horrible that I felt, you know, and I thought to myself, wow, you know, here I am. I'm just living my life. I'm not bothering any. I'm like in isolation on purpose, not because they've put me there at this time, but because I know my city is ran with this shit. Right. So, and anybody can be like, I've talked to people and you know how they turn people against you. Right. So I've done all that I can just to be myself and live my life. So, you know, the thing that came to me is like, they're already stalking you. They're already harassing you. They already don't like you. We see every day, you know, the people who are being killed for the color of their skin or their gender or their sexual orientation or how they identify. You know? Yeah. And I think a lot of us are very, I mean, you know, to be an empath is to be is sensitive. You know, I feel, and the more that you're on, it's hard for people to continue on their journey. And so you get to take breaks. I take breaks. I take breaks where I don't want to pray. I don't want to meditate. I've done all of my coffers up in heaven in the, you know, spiritual realm are filled. That's where grace comes in because we get tired. Sometimes we don't always want to be in this warfare, but I know I didn't. You know, I had a flash, an epiphany, you know, a download last night. Was it last night? I think it was last night. I work graveyard. So sometimes, you know, and I don't get enough sleep in between shifts. But, so sometimes the days are very, whatever. Yeah. Psychic gifts. Yeah. And so, I mean, it was trailing and God was showing me, you have never done anything wrong to deserve it, but it's your position in the spirit realm. Okay, if that makes sense. It's your position in the spirit realm, which makes people act so violently towards you. Because that's why I was like, God, why are people, when I was in my teens, I was like, God, why are people so violent against me? Like it really gives you a complex. Like, what the hell have I done? I'm walking down the street. Somebody looks at me and looks with a reptilian stare like they want to fucking kill me. I'm just walking down the street. I've said nothing. Right? And people then, I think God was trying to use people, say, look, and people would always tell me, you don't know how powerful you are. You don't know how powerful you are. You don't know how powerful you are. And that was wrong for them to do. Don't tell me I don't know how powerful I am. Tell me, give me the tools to see how powerful I am. Right? Yes. Give me the tools to see how powerful I am. But I had to get that, you know, with me being homeless and losing that life caused me to have to actually, okay, what is this greatness that people have always talked to me? Because you'll dumb yourself down and it's unconscious because most of us are on autopilot, right? So it's unconscious, but because a lot of times when we experience something, let's say you're walking and everybody's giving you this psychopathic stare like they want to murder you. You don't know how to process it because you didn't expect it. So it kind of jolts you out, but quickly you're thinking, okay, it's something wrong with me because they're staring at me. They're directing this towards me, not realizing that there's this shit wrong with them. And this is what they do, right? This is how they catch their flies and then wrap them up and then drain them later, you know, slowly. So, so I started to learn. It's like, okay, this is what now I'm in touch. I mean, it was a beautiful day when I was journaling and kind of automatic writing at the same time, but journaling my emotions, my feelings, and then automatic writing. And then just out of nowhere, I was writing a declaration. I was writing a prayer for myself and positive affirmation for myself. And I got introduced to one of my guides, their name. You know, I've seen my guides and they do rotate. Thank you so much for the roses. That's so awesome. Thank you for the likes too. The algorithm wants you down because it knows your power. Yes. And that's basically it. That's what the Most High God said. Like, because I was like, you know, because I've been feeling like this depression and I know I've quit smoking because they told me to quit smoking because it's dulling me, right? It's dulling. So anytime you take in a drug that alters, you know, chemically alters your natural chemical makeup, it dulls you. So I mean, you're powerful anyway, but imagine how powerful you would be, right? If you weren't doing the drugs, the alcohol, the cigarettes, I miss smoking. I got to say, because I mean, smoking was helped me deal with the fact that I have to isolate myself temporarily, here. So, and I don't know about these smoke and herbs stuff, like, the flowers and stuff like that. People got them in cigarettes. And I was like, well, how long? I got to do some research. And I actually asked God the other day, because I like the hand to mouth thing. But I wanted to be safe. So yeah, Drea, that's what people said. But now I can see them. Now I can feel them. Right? Now I can feel the angels. Now, when I call for protocol angels, when I call for warrior angels, they come. When I call my guides, whether by name or not, they come. They come, and I feel that relief and that release. Before, the whole thing of my program, Phoenix's Rising Academy, and what I offer is to get you aware of yourself. Because sometimes we have been so traumatized by gang stalking, by being in cluster B personalities. And sometimes it's not us we don't attract trauma. The trauma has been brought to us because they wanted to bring it to us, because they feel that we deserve it, that we're not going through enough because we're happy. I was homeless, you guys, on the streets in soiled boxers, walking my dogs, pushing a cart with their dog food and bowls and water and blankets. And they still were mad at me. Because why? I was still glowing, because I was happy to be on the journey. Finally, I was going to change my legacy. Because I came into this world prosperous. I didn't come in with a poverty mentality, you guys. I didn't come in with, with ignorance. I didn't come in with a low self-esteem. So reflect back on how you came in to this world. When you came through the chute, when you came through the portal, I didn't come in. I came here with a lot of love and a lot of confidence and ready to get this shit over with. I was actually here for my assignment. I didn't know here in this brain. I didn't know. In my spiritual body, I knew, right? In my spiritual body, I knew. And I was always waiting for something to pop off, and it never flipping did. So pissed. I remember being able to spread my etheric wings to comfort somebody, to hold somebody in them. Like you get to a point where you don't care about what people think about you. I'm going to talk about who I am because the world wants to silence me. That's what gang stalking is. It's isolating you to punish you for just putting you in a prison, but you can still walk around. The world is your courtyard, is the yard, but there's still rules. So what I found is that they know that we're coming out to shoot. They know we're on assignment. They're prepared and ready. And they go for it. If they can't turn us, think about the vampire movies, which is what cluster Bs are. If they can't turn us, then they want to dead us. Slow and sadistically, though. I say five P's in the Bible. Dre Lopez 23 says there's 5 P's in the Bible. Purpose, passion, and perspective. There you go. Handle business, girl. Handle business. Yeah. So yeah, it's about you getting to know you. I write these programs based and with the intention of getting you to your higher self. That's why I said I'm not that type of life coach. I'm not going to dress up. If I happen to, it's because I wanted to. But I'm about you getting you Phoenixes to that next level. Comfortable with enough with yourself that you want to take that leap. And I think that sometimes we don't do it. And this is my thing, because again, I didn't come in with a poverty mentality, even in this skin. I didn't come in with a poverty mentality. I didn't come in with gender. I didn't come in with all these complaints and issues that, were later subscribed to me or ascribed to me, right? So they were created because what do cluster Bs as a collective like to do? They like to make you think that you're them, and you got to feel that guilt and shame. You got to feel that uncomfortability in your skin when you never had it. You never had it. They put it on you. right? And so a lot of people are taking, and the other thing that cluster B personalities like is for you to take responsibility for their actions. So when you say, no, this person violated me in this and this way, and here's the receipts that I have, and I want demand justice, whether it's justice in the earth or it's justice in heaven. I'd rather take justice in heaven because it'll manifest on the earth. You know? Yeah, flesh and energy, and vampires. So, yeah. So, you know, they want you to take responsibility for what they are. So those of you who have been gang stalked and they're saying, oh, well, you know, you said something that was out of pocket, or you believe, or you're on this website and that's out of pocket. And that shows that you're doing all this stuff. And it's like, well, I mean, Jiminy Christmas, we're adults. I had to tell my neighbors that started hooping and hollering because of, you know, they're gang stalkers and gang members. And, you know, and like I said, they already know I'm not putting up with the bullcorn. Like, I've been here for 10 years and I'm so ready to go, but it's, you know, in the Lord's divine timing, I'm going to go. But, let me finish this other thought that they just brought back up to me, was that a lot of times it's not that when we start processing things right, instead of processing things the way that cluster B personalities want us to, right? Which is in the psychiatry field, psychology field, all those fields where, oh, we're supposed to help you, and you end up doing more damage. Keeping the victims. You know, you're keeping victims by blaming them. So you're doing the work for cluster Bs. And most of the time, psychologists or psychiatrists are cluster B personalities, you know, or they're flying monkeys. So what I was shown or reminded by the Most High was that it's not that you're afraid of making money, but you're afraid of people stealing it because they have targeted it. So these principalities and their flying monkeys, or these demons, cause you to fear because they don't want you to be stable. When I got up off the streets, I've had so many attacks on my job. When I was on the streets and I was working, I was living out of a van. So I was living out of a van for about a year, and on the streets for a year, pushing a cart and living out of abandoned buildings. Got a job in security. I mean, literally had to save my money, you know, whatever little bit I was coming in, donations and paying people back and stuff like that, to get my guard card and to get the scan and all that stuff. Those of you who are security guards and have family members in the business, you know what we got to go through to, I mean, it's a seamless process, but still, California makes shit tough where you always got to get fingerprinted for every goddamn thing, you know, and they keep upping the price. You know, that's like going to a California university of whatever kind, and them always every semester, the price of the credits is going up about $50 to $100. You know, it's a business. It doesn't mean that they want you to graduate. You could be a career student for all they fucking care, as long as their pockets are being filled. Because people were starting colleges just, you know, because it was a moneymaker. Right? So anyway, yeah, it's a different thing. So anyway, I forgot what I was saying. Sorry, guys. So bear with me, because it's been about, I think I'm in the 3rd month of not smoking, and so the detoxing, and you know, still going through psychic attacks, where people want to hoover in the spiritual realm. So let me say this. Is whatever I need to say, we'll come back to. Oh, that is it. So it's not that you're afraid of starting a business. It's not that you're afraid of making too much money. It's not that you're afraid of even leaving family members or coworkers, but because you've been punished. It's the Pavlov syndrome. It's because you've been punished for doing such and such, for daring to go outside of their control. Right? When you dare to go outside of these cluster B personalities, these gang stalkers, these their control, they will gang stalk you. And they will get anybody to do it. And they will say, I have people still, as much as I keep to myself, right? And I just work on the programs, work on my education so I can give you guys more knowledge, work on myself so I can reveal more to you guys, right? So I'm meditating so basically you've just created a spiritual Super Saiyan. You know, I'm like, keep coming forward. Come through. Because I am no longer my body. I have had death brought to me too many times to count. And I've been doing this alone, So there's nothing that they can do. I mean, I had somebody who was like trying to kill me with a death spell or something, and I could feel it. And it was crunching through my chest or sending me a demonic entity that, to possess me and make me sick or whatever. Like I've gone through the ringer. You can see it in my eyes. I've gone through the ringer. I've seen some shit in the spiritual realm, and I don't take it back because I asked for clarity and to be able to see. I've always been able to feel and get a little glimpse. I said, I want to be able not just to feel, but I want to be able to see vividly, Yeah, they're wasting time and money, but they don't care. That's what I've noticed. When you look at the people, I had a lady, neighbor, upstairs neighbor, right? And they like drama. They love drama. They love it. They love it. They love it. And she heard me outside coming home because she had her kids, wasn't watching her kids. And so they ran the tub over the water. And, I live in a hotel room, that is running down. Their pipes are fucked up. And so, the water keeps running over the tub. They won't move me hotel rooms. So I have to deal with it. So I said, if any of thing is damaged while I'm at work, I'm going to let this place on fire. But this lady, so she comes down and she's looking at me. She couldn't look at me before, but I noticed that she would stare. She would give me that reptilian stare. And this is what I've learned. I'm not going to do the stare down game. How many people you say, the first person to blink, right? I'm not going to do that. I'll blink. I blunk. You've won. I'm going about my life, right? Because what I realize is that I'm not talking to a human being. I'm talking to a demon. And it's a demon that's looking back at me. That's that reptilian stare. So if you want to waste your time and money, whatever. But like I've always told people, I've told them, the gang stalkers, is like the God blesses better than the devil does. The devil just drains you and breadcrumbs you because what? The devil is you. The devil, you're doing what the devil wants you to do, and the devil is in you. So the devil is the breadcrumber. God's not. God will give you double for your trouble. If you said, I want to be a millionaire off this business, I want to know what it's like to be self-made, and people keep sabotaging you, entities keep sabotaging you, trying to kill you because you almost get there, or you start building and they're so jealous, well, now you're a multi-billionaire. See, that's how God blesses. There is nothing that you speak out into the universe that it will ever come to you void, but it's learning what to say and how to say it and when to say it. Right? Yeah, my life is not a game. I've had to tell him that. I'm not in the sandbox. I'm not in this high school. So basically what the Most High revealed to me is that I've been a target for a long time. And it was never going to change. And I tried to deny it. I had cognitive dissonance because I was like, no, you know what I mean? I'm doing everything right. I would, try and be goody two shoes on purpose. Not just because I just am, Like when people's like, oh gosh, you seem kind of boring. Well, because I have no antics for you. What I say and what I do is just, it is what it is. I've always wore my heart on my sleeve. So, if people can't understand that, I'm not going to change now. I'm a Generation Xer. We paved the way for the millennials. Like all the benefits that the millennials are getting is because we held it down. Also because we had that good music. I had music that filled me with love, not Not the slur music, this slurping music and, always talking about sex or whatever the hell, unfathomable crap that people are going through. I had good music, good people become targets, great blessings. Yeah. And a lot of times it's whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Mine actually have outrun their date. This shit was supposed to be dealt with, 2019. And, but they kept doing witchcraft. Their thing with me is to do witchcraft. We can't face you. We can't take you. God's covered your money. So they tried, and it was a test. And they tried because, again, they'll try and take whatever they think that they can. So the devil is always, and his minions are always seeking to kill, steal, and destroy. They're always plotting and planning. Psalms 140 is a good prayer to recite, right along with 64, 91, 23. Yeah. Yeah. So, because they tried it with me by attacking my my attacking my boss, and so she wouldn't give me any hours. And she left herself open because she was remote viewing me or astral projecting to me. And you can always tell people who have gone through trauma, they will get it. Yeah, connect with many prophets. Trying to Drea Lopez. But so they were trying to not give me any hours. I had to deal with this for 3 weeks, right? So what it taught me is that I had to ask for help. So that was one of the lessons. The other lesson is that, there's some social programs that will keep you stuck in a poverty cycle, right? that will keep you say, you right, but I got that dynamite for that. Okay. That will keep you stuck in a poverty cycle. And so they were trying to hurry me up and say, okay, well, you can get this, you can, you got to reapply and all this stuff. You got to do a doctor's assessment. I'm not doing all that. I'm not doing all that. I've been homeless. I have gone through the most traumatic experiences in the last 6 years, in the last 10 years. There's no coming back. I've already decided I'm self-made. My experience, my strength, my hope, and my encouragement of others will provide for me, right? Of course, I have I got 40 hours now. So basically what they were trying to do is like, okay, you're going to continue that pattern. I didn't know until after I declined it. I said, I don't want it. I said, I don't want to be homeless again, living off of that wage. At least I have my guard card. And if something happens, I can move, I can pick up, I can, you know what I mean? I can still be a security guard. That's my career. It's not my passion. It's just a career. I'm doing my passion right now. So they tried that, and it happens in little subtle ways. Like, somebody would be so happy if if you had a social worker calling you to get on disability or do this, and oh my gosh, like, we don't want you to lose it. And plus, besides that, they were throwing bones. Like, basically they owed me $5,000 for not paying me properly 1 year. Right. But when I declined, all of a sudden I owed them everything back. You see how that flipped? And God was telling me, watch the energy, watch the manipulation, right? So I declined, as they said, okay, well, you're no longer disabled. You're exactly right. That is no longer going to be a handicap for me. That is no longer going to be a handicap for me. And I never wanted it to. I mean, like years ago. So on one hand, it was a dream come true. On the other hand, it was a spiritual accomplishment and a raise that I received. Right? Because now right after that, I got 40 hours. I'm good. I even have enough to save a little bit, just monitoring. So now not only have I quit smoking, which was costing me $100 a week, which was $400 a month, right? To smoke. And I was pretty heavy smoker, a lot on my mind, big thinker, right? Feeling all this stuff. So when you get into when you get so deep that you get to realize the subtleties before it turns into something big, right? So that's what I desire for you guys. Fired, but against union advice due to medical while working industry, I was pushed to resign. Okay. Yeah, I meditate. Actually, I'm getting Spence for hire. I'm getting back into meditation. Like, I'm actually focusing on meditation, and I'm going back into the gym. Actually, when I get off work this morning, I'll be in the gym. I'm going to go straight to the gym and then go back and deal with my dogs because it's my day off. I have an appointment, and then I'm going to go to sleep for the rest of the day. And see, that's the thing. I've learned how to take care of me. Right? Like, I quit smoking. So that means the oxygen, everything. I need to purify my lungs. I need to purify my heart, all that stuff, everything that they've attacked in the astral realm, that when they couldn't get to me in the physical, they, attacked me physically in the spiritual, So, yeah. So yeah, I'm learning more about that. So here, let me get some, because I got to go on patrol. I'm going to take you guys with me, but I want to finish reading at least this chapter. So today's entry will cover and this is still from the same, group. Today's entry will cover a subject which is not widely known but public. It is a tactic which is used to drive people over the edge. It is called gang stalking. Gang stalking is a systemic form of control which seeks to control every aspect of a targeted individual's life. Gang stalking takes place outside in the community. Yeah. It's called gang stalking because the target is followed around and placed under surveillance by groups of organized civilian spies, snitches 24/7. I personally dealt with this situation when I was a law enforcement officer. That's the guy that I'm reading from. This is a Google group. And so he's saying that he was a police officer. I was investigating a large organization of Luciferians, and they employed all of the tactics in this article to derail my investigation. Predatory gang stalking is also called terror stalking, gang stalking, flash mobbing, cause stalking, hate stalking, multi-stalking, happy slapping, workplace bullying, and covert war. Like, that's a lot of shit right there, you know? Again, I always post my TikTok lives on my YouTube channel. So if you guys didn't catch all that, go and check it out. Thank you for all the likes, you guys. Love you. The reasons why it is employed: you found the wrong forum on the internet and saw something you should not have seen. You worked for a company and found, so he's giving reasons now why, you know, like I said, my thing is that I didn't want to date somebody or didn't want somebody flirting with me or set a boundary for one of their kids not to throw garbage on my thing. And the kid got offended, told somebody, and they said, okay, well, we belong to this organization. We don't put up with that. Imagine that. Imagine that. Where you have people in a community, in a city, in an area, who are bullying other people based off of trifling shit. People are being bombed. People are dying from coronavirus and all the offshoots of it, right? People are homeless. Americans are having a hard time feeding themselves because of the skyrocketing prices of food. And their priority is to make sure that you know that they're special. Right? Like, fuck out of here, dude. So, again, the cop's talking about it. It said, so he's saying the reasons. You found the wrong forum on the internet and saw something you should not have seen. You worked for a company and found out some sensitive information. You got on the wrong side of someone who is a member of the vast satanic or Luciferian cabal, etc. What does this have to do with the field of the paranormal? On a macrocosmic level, which is what I was saying, a macrocosmic level, preternatural beings are the driving force behind activities such as gang stalking. The destruction of a person feeds them. It also fits in with their overall agenda. People who are victims of gang stalking, or survivors, I like to say, survivors of gang stalking, are people who pose a threat to the goals of the dark principalities. Okay? That you pose a threat, and that's why they want you. That's why they want you gone, you know? And a lot of the people who, you know, I know me being attacked, a lot of the people, like, they were lied to about who I was. I could see it on their face. So when they're being lied to about who you are as a person, and so they're going after you and they figure out, oh, wow, you're really not that person that they said that you were. Now what do I do? But I still got to keep going because I am bound by Santa Muerte. I am bound by Satan. If I don't fulfill this, I'm screwed. Right? If I don't fulfill this, they're going to come for me. And I don't want that because I know I've seen their end results. I've laughed and gotten off on the end results when they've taken out a target. So this is what gang stalking does, you guys. This is what gang stalking does. And it said vast numbers of stalkers seem to have no idea that they are being controlled and used to harass people. Like a vehicle, the entities enter, use, drive them, and then exit. So as I said, these guys are demon possessed because you have to go through a satanic rite, whether it's with Santa Muerte or whether it's with another type of demon. Okay. So mine here again, I'm in California. Hello. I'm in California where the Mexican gangs and the Asian gangs run California. Everybody else is a flying monkey. Okay. So, and that's most of the worst problem that I've gotten has been from Mexicans, but they don't do their own dirty work, right? The women who are stalking me are Hispanic, not necessarily Mexican, but they're Hispanic, you know, or Hispanic mixed, and they belong to this gang of would naturally be Hispanic, you know? So that's why I said, then they worship Santa Muerte. I've heard it. They're chanting, doing incantations to Santa Muerte to get her to have that presence over this city, over this area, over this neighborhood, so they can take it over. That is seriously what they do. And I know it sounds crazy, but these people are not people. They're, you know, an entity is controlling them. And I have always actually said that it seems to me, take this as you will, but it seems to me that most of these, the Latin diaspora is easily influenced by demon possession. You know what I mean? Like it's, I mean, like even if you see in movies, they're all, I mean, you know, when they have a character, it's somebody who is, you know,